Today's episode is brought to you by Delaware Orthopedic Specialists. The birds are back, and you know what that means. Dr. Mesa joining the pod on a weekly basis, providing the best up-to-the-minute updates on all of our Eagles. Let's hope that we don't have too much to talk to him about with injured birds this season, but he and any of the other wonderful providers at DOS can talk to you about ending injury that you or a loved one have been dealing with for far too long. The only fellowship-trained surgery center here in the state of Delaware, why would you trust anyone other than the specialists? Them being specialists means that they are specialized in each and every part of the body. So if you come in looking for a specific doctor for a specific part of the body, they've got you covered. They're going to hold your hand and walk you through every step of the process, and you're going to make sure that you're happy with all of your results. 302-655-9494 is how you get a hold of them on the phone, or head on over to delortho.com to schedule your appointment today. After they provide you with wonderful care, head on over to Google, give them a great review, and let them know that Talkin 215 sent you.
Welcome to Talkin 215, your go-to podcast for everything you need to know about Philly sports. Whether you bleed green, trust the process, fly with the Flyers, or fight with the Fightins, this is the place where we break down Broad Street. Jake, Sean, and Joey deep dive into the heart of Philly sports culture, breaking down games, roster moves, and sharing the stories that make the 215 truly legendary. So grab a cheesesteak, settle in, and let's get to Talkin 215. Now here's your host, Jake Biasado.
What's going on, everybody? Talkin 215's back. The duo disaster. The coach has returned to the field. What's going on, Coach?
Doing good, Jakey. 2025, baby. Ready to get this started, man. Let's go. Let's talk some birds.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Hey, it's a 4-year anniversary of the podcast.
Look at that.
I think the 6th. I think January 6th will be the 4-year anniversary of the podcast. Golf club. Yeah. A little something for the boys, you know. Love to see where we've grown. Love to see where we're going. Can't wait to see where we're heading next. But no, I mean, obviously, we're not going to be talking too much like Eagles Giants preview. Like we touched on, this game is completely meaningless for us. I mean, it holds great meaning for the Giants, which and I'm going to ask your opinion on this in a little bit. But I mean, might have a little something to do we let them win? Do we make them fall to that 8, 9, 10 draft spot and just completely fuck up their future? I don't know, but we're going to get into that in a little bit. But Coach, you've been off air for a couple of weeks now. What are your thoughts? What are your feelings what are the kind of vibes at the Kapusta household surrounding the Eagles heading into the postseason?
Yeah, I think just like any other family, not even talking about football here, going into 2025, you want health and happiness, right? That's what you want for yourself, for your family, for your loved ones. That's what we all want for the Eagles. Number one, health and happiness. Because if they're healthy, I'm happy, baby. Because Jake, I don't know. We talked about it on the pod before. I don't know how many games off the top of my head where you've had AJ, Smitty, and Goddard on the field for a full game this year. Is it like 3 games?
Yeah, it's something 4? Nutty. It's something. While you're talking, I'll pull it up, but it's something stupid low.
And I think obviously week 1 was one of them. And then AJ missed about 3 to 4 weeks after that. And then he came back and Smitty missed 2 games. And then
Goddard missed some.
During that time period. And then Goddard came back and then Goddard went out again. It's just been a whirlwind, man. And so I'm looking forward to health and happiness, man. If I look across this team, obviously outside of Brandon Graham being out for the year with that triceps injury, we're pretty healthy across the board.
Yeah.
All 5 starting offensive linemen. You got Saquon, AJ, Smitty, Goddard, Jalen's going to be back. And then on the defense, everybody going too. Finally, we have the number 1 defense in the NFL. And we have an offense that hasn't had a chance to get all their guys together for an extended period of time. So, man, when you think about all that, I don't understand how teams can't be dreading wanting to play the Eagles in the first.
Oh, yeah. No, they've got to be the last team you really want to face. I mean, look, the Lions are a hell of a team. Yeah. They really are. I love their coaching staff. Their offense is incredibly creative. Their passing coordinator, their offensive coordinator and their passing game is so dynamic, one of, if not the most dynamic in the NFL. And their defense should be great, but they have there's a laundry list of guys, and then there's a laundromat's list of guys out on injury, and they've got the whole laundromat. Their entire team is just out on injury on the defensive side of the ball. and it's just they got the shit end of the stick. So it's like they are, and they're still a damn good team. But when you get to the postseason, that stuff tends to catch up with you a little bit more than when you don't. So, I mean, the Lions, while they scare me, I think the Eagles probably have the edge when healthy. The Vikings, I've kind of all year felt like, oh, well, we saw this with the Vikings back in, 2020, 2021, when they lost to the Giants in the first round, and they were something like, again, 13-4, something like that. But I think they only had a +3 point differential. This year, I was thinking that for so long, but they've shown they're a force. They're a damn good team. So the Vikings scare you a little bit, but again, we've seen the Eagles against good teams, and we've seen what they do against good teams. I mean, they step up. They manhandled the Ravens, who right now, if you look at any power rankings, have them as one of the top teams. And it's not like they were in a slump. The Ravens were in a hot stretch right there. So it's like, if you just go by position, matchup by matchup, group by group, I'm taking the Birds against anybody right now.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You have to look across the NFL, the landscape, right? Like, we're Eagles fans, so we got to see Brady and the Patriots just look like a juggernaut for so long, right? And then even just most recently, you see Mahomes and the Chiefs look like a juggernaut most recently. You have these waves, but now if you look across the NFL, I mean, say what you want about Dallas, but they're not making the playoffs. Then you have the 49ers, who can always be a problem if healthy, with C-Mac, with Debo, with Ayuk, with that offensive line, and then that great defense they have. They've been riddled by injuries. They're not making the playoffs either. And then, like you were just touching on with the Vikings, they have Sam Darnold in his first time with this offensive coordinator, with Kevin O'Connell on that team. You wonder if variance is going to kick in, if they're going to come back down to earth. And then you wonder if the Lions can stop anybody with as many injuries as they had on defense. Yeah. So we're sitting here talking about the health of some of the top teams in the league and not really being healthy. And yet here we are as Eagles fans saying, we lost Brandon Graham. Okay, that was really it. The rest of our guys are at full strength, knock on wood, fully healthy, ready to go. I mean, you can't ask for a better slate heading into this playoffs. And I know the 1 seed is what it is. We fell short. It is what it is. But you're going to have a really good chance to have the trip to the Super Bowl come through Philly if you take care of business the way you should.
Oh, yeah.
And health plays a big part in that, Jake. It really does.
No, it's wild. And to go back to answer your question, it's about 4.25 games that they've had Goddard, Smith, A.J. Brown, because that Browns game, Goddard left early. Yeah. And Calcaterra ended up having like that Grant Calcaterra game where that game was a lot closer than it should have been, and Grant Calcaterra had some big catches in there. Kind of been his thing all year. Whenever he catches a ball, it's some kind of big play. But it's 4 full games and then like a quarter of a game.
That's what I'm talking 16, about.
25, about 28% of the games, they've had all 3 of their weapons, all 3 of their passing weapons.
So you have to be excited going into this playoffs. Yeah. That's why. And look, this will probably lead right into this next topic, right, Jake? Like, for the people that want Saquon to play, that want the starters to play, everything like that, Jake just told you it's about a quarter of the season that they've had their 3 top pass catchers in Goddard, AJ, and Smitty to pair along with that monster in the backfield and Saquon and that offensive line and Jalen Hurts. Okay, guys, that's unheard of. So people talk about all the time about, we got the game script, we got the game film. There's 4.25 games of all these guys playing together. That's it. That's all you got. And I have Kellen Moore, who's probably cooking stuff up on the quote unquote bye week 18 against the Giants with the starters and making sure all our guys get fresh, healthy. Even Lane said, hey man, I got bumps, bruises, nicks, all this stuff. I need a week. Give me a week, man, so that we come in there fresh. Little things like that, man. How can you not want these guys to have that rest? We thought, we didn't get the one, so we don't have a bye. We're creating our own bye. We're creating a bye for ourselves. Why wouldn't you want to take advantage of that?
No, like people were crying when I posted that clip on Instagram saying like, hey, here's my 4 positives coming out of that loss against the Commanders. I was like, and I had one of them as, hey, the 1 seed's all but gone now. Now let's look at the positives of losing that. Week 18 is now a bye. This team hasn't had an actual bye since week 5. They have the earliest possible bye in the NFL. And so now you went 13 straight games without a break. And so when you lose that 1 seed, you got to look, all right, silver lining. Now we're guaranteed. Well, I knew we were going to be. We all knew we were beating Dallas. But at the time, I was like, look, we're guaranteed the 2 seed now. Now week 18 is meaningless. And I talked to Dr. Mesa from our friends at Delaware, orthopedic specialist. And I said, Doc, look, you're as diehard as they get. He was right there behind Mike Trout when Darius Slade gave him the ball and everything, like just going nuts. He'd be right there in the end zone that possibly Saquon would break the record. And I said, Doc, speaking strictly medically, no fandom, no nothing, no personal pains, just strictly medically, should the Eagles rest Saquon Barkley? And he was like, look, I want him to get the record more than anybody, but if you're talking medically, it's a no-brainer. He's like, you get the opportunity for a guy that is at his career high in carries, who's had a lot of injuries throughout his career, to have an extra week off when he's been getting just pounded week in and week out. And he said, look, this is everybody. This isn't just Saquon. But if you want to just focus on him, like he's been a workhorse throughout. If you compare any running back in the entire NFL, he's got to lead him in carries, yards, everything. Like the guy has just been carrying this offense. And you see a lot of these runs, he's dropping the shoulder. He's not running and then he's scooting out of bounds. You know, he's not like, you've seen it a couple of times, but a lot of times he's fighting for these hard, heavy yards. So to give this guy 2 weeks off, yeah, I mean, get it, game ended, then it's 2 weeks. So don't be thinking like, oh, we didn't get the bye. Like, all right, it's math, folks. It's not that hard. To give him 2 weeks off is just so much great time to recover because, mind you, like for anybody sitting there and be like, man, I got, after a long high school season or whatever, it took me more than 2 weeks to feel great. Yeah, you don't have world-class doctors, world-class physical therapists, all of the best technology, all the best everything to make you feel as good as possible. Like he's in an ice bath in the morning, a cryogenic tank before lunch. He's getting 3 massages, just doing everything he needs to get back. So I'm ecstatic to have the whole team getting that little extra break. I hope nobody of meaning plays week 18.
Yeah, and I just don't understand the other side of the argument. I mean, I don't want to say I don't understand. I just can't wrap my head around it. And I get the other point is you have a chance to etch your name in history. You have a chance of this. The key word there, Jake, is chance. Yeah. You don't have a guarantee. You have a chance. But let's just say Saquon did break the record. The only thing I keep hearing people talk about is like, oh, what if Saquon got hurt? What if Saquon got hurt? What if Saquon got hurt? Do you realize in order for him to go for the record, we have to play our starters along the offensive line. We have to play Jalen Hurts. We have to play the rest of the offense, or else nobody's going to respect anything and put 9 in the box against a backup O-line, increasing his chances of getting hurt. So it's not just about Saquon getting hurt. It's about Lane Johnson getting hurt. It's about Jordan Mailata getting hurt. It's about Jalen Hurts accidentally handing the ball off and getting rolled up on by a lineman, his ankle. It's about A.J. Brown going to cut on a route and spraining his ankle or being horse collar tackled. It's all of these things. Jake just pointed out that trio has only played 4 1/4 games together. They haven't been healthy all year in order to come together. Mailata's missed 4 games. Lane Johnson's missed 2. Becton's missed 1. Hurts will have missed 2 here right now. And we're really going to say go out there for an attempt at a rushing record? He already has 2,000. That's what he said. Would he have wanted it? Yes, I totally get. Saquon Barkley didn't sign with the Eagles to get the rushing record. He signed with the Eagles because he wanted a taste of what it was like to play for a championship. And I see all the people saying, oh, you better win the Super Bowl now. You better win the Super Bowl. This isn't an if or not. Like, oh, if he doesn't go for the rushing record, that automatically wins the Super Bowl. All that means is it's like in poker. You're increasing your odds to get to the next card. You're increasing your chances by playing the best hand. That's what you're doing. But if you go in there with 7-2 offsuit and someone calls your bluff, aka you get hurt in the game, there's nothing you could do at that point.
Yeah.
The best hand will always win. And what we're doing is we're giving ourselves the chance to show our best hand in the playoffs. So if you can't wrap your brain around that, go be one of these people that like buy a LeBron Lakers jersey, a LeBron Cavs jersey, a LeBron Miami Heat jersey, and just follow a player. Don't follow the Eagles. Just do that. Because we can't sit up here as Eagles fans and every year make fun of Dak Prescott and his empty stats and his empty stats and his empty stats, and then sit here and say, I want to put my starters at risk before we play in a playoff game. Stop it.
No, I thought you made the best point that I've heard of this entire debate through Eagles Twitter, through everything, in that if Saquon plays, you now have to play everybody else. You have to play your offensive line. Because why are you going to put him out there with a second string offensive line, just making it more difficult for him to get it, making it more likely that he's going to get blasted with somebody just missing an assignment, anything like that. And it's like, all right, cool, man. You want Saquon to get it? Like, I get it. I understand how cool it would be against his old team that he abandoned him, against Tiki Barber and the commentator who said he's dead to him for going to the Eagles, against the team that drafted him, now a divisional rival. Like, I get it. It would be awesome. And for everybody being like, oh, well, Eric Dickerson did it in less games. Look at the carries. He averages more yards per carry. It took him 379 carries to get it in Eric Dickerson. Saquon's at 345 now. Odds are he would break it in less carries, which to me is the more important thing. Yep. But Coach, I also think you kind of said it earlier with when he was given the opportunity before his monster 200-something yard game, when Sirianni went to him and was like, yeah, man, you want to go for your career high single game? He's like, nah, let the young guys eat. Like, he knew, and that wasn't first 3 games of the season. That wasn't before he was off on this, oh, man, let's keep an eye on this. Like, he's going on a run. That was like, hey, this guy's averaging 150 yards a game. Like, if he keeps his pace, he's going to break the record. So, like, again, he understands the main thing's the main thing on this team. He wants to win. He wants to go out there and make a deep run in the playoffs. And to do that with your best chance of success is with a healthy Saquon, with a healthy O-line, healthy everybody.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's tread on the tires, man. That's what running backs are. It's tread on the tires. And now, when you got guys like Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, guys like this that are freaks, that tread isn't going to wear down the same way it does on the other guys. Not all tires are built the same.
Yeah, we're talking Michelin, not donuts here. We're not talking a little spare donut you're throwing on.
Shout out Michelin in case you want to sponsor the show.
Exactly.
But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's different scenarios in different cases. Obviously, Saquon is a freak. He's already hit his career high in touches in a season. We already have him that most. Give the guy.
I don't think he's past 300 in his career, and he's at 345 now.
Yeah, I mean, look, the record would be cool. You're absolutely right. I don't think anybody that is on our side here, Jake, saying rest of starters is saying the record's stupid. It's meaningless anyway. No, it's cool as shit. Like, we'd all love to see him break it. But you were just talking about the Giants and how cool that would be. You don't think the Giants are in misery right now, seeing that Saquon Barkley's been the NFC Player of the Week like 4 times already? He rushed for
ad that he just dropped today.
Yeah,
see that the mattress ad?
The rest ad, the sleep ad.
Well, I sleep fine at night.
Just stuff like that, and like he's ran for 2,000 yards. How many people in the NFL? Less than 10 people in history have done that.
The only player to do it on the team that didn't draft him. Little fun fact.
There you go. There you go. He already had a monster game against his team. The Giants are tanking and they can't even do that right. You know, they have dysfunction amongst themselves. They may have turnover at GM, head coach, both. Who knows? Meanwhile, we're fighting for the Super Bowl. So I think the Giants fans are good enough without rubbing that in their face. They have to see it every week, guys. They're at the bottom of the division looking up, knowing that Saquon's probably going to be the offensive player of the year this year. He won't get MVP because it's a quarterback award, but you can't have a better year at running back than this man has had. So there's no more rubbing that he needs to do. There isn't. The only thing he needs to do now is go and play his best in order to help his team win a Super Bowl. And if he wins a Super Bowl, I think that bragging rights over the Giants fans will be huge. Okay. You can't tell him shit. So let's not worry about that.
No, exactly. And look, to touch on some other guys, a lot of people are also talking like, oh, when Jalen Hurts clears protocol, you got to get him out there for a series or 2. You got to let him, knock the rust off and everything. Again, then you got to play everybody else. You're not going to put him out there with a faulty O-line. You're not going to put him out there with less weapons, so he has to stand in the pocket even longer when he already kind of struggles to hold on to the ball a little bit too long. Now he's got guys that he doesn't have rhythm with, doesn't have time with. He has a running back that he doesn't know exactly where they're going to be, where he has that just instinctual bond with Saquon Barkley. And to Doc's credit, again, you're getting a little bit extra rest, but he was like, look, it's not like this team is good in the first quarter. Like, you want to talk about knocking the rust off? That's the first quarter of every single game.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
he can do that in the wild card game and will still win almost every time.
And Jake, let me ask you a question for the people that talk about Jalen Hurts and the quote unquote rust. And correct me if I'm wrong. I want to know your honest thought on this. Would you say that the best game you've ever seen Jalen Hurts play was in the Super Bowl against Pat Mahomes?
Yeah.
Who did the Eagles play the week before that? The calendar week before that.
The calendar week before that, they played the Niners.
No, the literal week leading up to that Super Bowl.
They didn't play anybody.
Oh, they didn't play anybody? So Hurts had a full week to rest, and then he came out in the Super Bowl firing, so he wasn't rusty? That's weird.
Yeah, but Coach, this is 3 weeks. Is a big difference.
Well, what do you think if we called either the Lions and the Vikings and we're like, hey, what if we took the 1 seed? Because really, you guys don't want to like a week off, do you?
Yeah.
Like, you don't want to. Goff is going to be rusty. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to be rusty. You guys don't want that. Do you see how dumb that sounds? And we're going to be at home in the playoffs where a team does not want to come into Philadelphia. We can't sit here and pride ourselves on this home field advantage in the winter, outdoors in Philadelphia with the craziest and most loyal, passionate fans, and then being like, well, our all-pro quarterback might be a little rusty after 1 week. Stop it. Enough. He's not a pitcher that needs to like get the pitch threshold and, like do some bullpen sessions. No,
I'm with you 1,000%. I want to kind of switch, sticking with just awards and people playing great. Let me ask you this, because you are the if you had told me guy. For anybody listening to the podcast, you always hear, Coach go, if you had told me before the game.
I'm Marty McFly, baby. I'm back to the future.
So I'm going to pose this one to you. If you had told me that the Eagles were going to lose arguably the greatest center in NFL history and have a guy that hasn't played center in the NFL other than, I think, like 25 snaps to then be their full-time replacement, and you had told me you would not know other than a different number on the jersey that Jason Kelce wasn't out there, I'd tell you, no, you're going to see a little bit of growing pains. You're going to see him have to figure it out. Cam Jurgens, a round of applause to Beef Jergy, because holy shit, this boy, I mean, there's a reason he's a Pro Bowler in his first season as a starting center, and he's going to be an All-Pro. It's incredible.
You're right, man. We probably can go back into the archives of this podcast where we're like, it's not going to be easy replacing Kelce, man. It's not going to be easy. I'm confident in Cam, but I'm to replace an All-Pro. And I saw a whole bunch of fans, Giants, Washington, Cowboys, been like, oh, they're losing Kelce, they're done. I mean, sliding right in, dude. And credit to the Eagles organization for being collaborative, because Howie went to Jason and was like, who do you want to replace you? Who do you like? Like, Jake, do you know
most similar to you?
Jake, some GMs and head coaches are so power hungry, Dallas, that like they don't do that sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
But Howie is like, hey, show me the clone of you. What do you see? What you tell me what you think would be the best. You've played on this line. You've called the snaps, the audibles. Tell me who you see from watching film. And he said, this guy out of Nebraska, Cam Jurgens. And Cam wasn't even I think there was Tyler Linderbaum and there was somebody else that were like high up on the center ranking. And I was like, oh, Cam Jurgens, I've heard of him, but okay, I didn't know it was like that. And Howie was like, I trust the greatest center of all time to see what it's like in another center. Shout out to the collaboration there, man.
Now, for the real OGs that Talkin 2-5 back when it was hit 'em low, hit 'em high, I was a big Creed Humphrey guy coming out of college.
And I was great.
I was like, yo, like Creed Humphrey, if he falls to day 2, like you got to grab him, maybe even consider end of day 1. Like this guy's going to be incredible. And he is. He's a great center.
Damn good center. Yeah.
Cam Jurgens is just as good, if not better.
Yeah. I don't think there's another center athletic as Cam.
Oh, yeah. No, it's like I'm waiting for, and maybe I missed it. I don't really watch like the Manning cast. I know a lot of people like it. I just personally just kind of have the game on. I barely listen to the commentators because I hate most of them. But like, I'm just waiting for the side by side of Jason Kelce on a run play or on like a screen pass and Cam Jurgens, because both boys are 20 yards downfield.
Yeah.
I mean, they're down there just getting.
No, I agree with you. It's pretty cool to see that like next step, next in line type thing. It's really cool to see. Let me ask you, since we're talking awards, since we're talking kind of things like this end of the year, off the top of your head, who would you give your most improved Eagle?
Oh, it's easy. It's Nolan Smith. Well, no, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's either Nolan Smith or Nakobe Dean.
Okay. I kind of agree with your. I agree with your first answer. I agree with your first answer. To be honest with you,
I might be convinced myself to Nakobe Dean. He's been so good.
Yeah,
but it's a good problem to have to not realize it. But I think Nolan Smith and Nakobe Dean have both taken just leaps that we haven't seen a player take in a long time. I mean, the last player I can really think to take that leap from being just a guy to being that dude is like in a completely different position. Like Calvin Ridley was pretty much nothing. And then year 3, he came out and burst onto the scene. And he's kind of regressed a little bit. He's on a terrible team. But it was like the last time. And I think both of these guys even had a bigger jump.
Yeah. My answer was Nolan Smith. So I completely agree with you. Just you knew he had the raw athleticism always, but his awareness in games, his seeing a screen and getting off a block, his not getting too high off on an edge speed rush and keeping his contain, his ability to bat balls down when he sees a quick hitter. Like he's just turned the page, and maybe it's learning from BG, but maybe it's like, hey, Buff and BG went down. We need you to play about 60 to 70% of the snaps now. So
yeah,
you better learn quick.
Let's shout out Clint Hurt while we're at it.
Man.
Guys just doing work on this defensive line.
He's got this defensive line just doing. I mean, obviously Jalen Carter's a freak amongst himself, but I mean, the other day it was against Dallas, I think it was, and we almost intercepted the handoff to Zeke on like the 10-yard line, and I was like, "Oh, Jalen Carter," and I was like, "That's Moro Ajomo."
Yeah, man.
Like what? And then you'll see Milton Williams,
Thomas Booker, and you'll see Milton Williams,
guys like this, Jake, and we're like, he is getting everything out of these guys on the D line.
Oh yeah. No, it's tough. Like we'll talk about this more in the offseason. I don't want to dive too deep into it, but I'm pretty sure Moro Ajomu's up for a contract. Milton Williams is up for a contract. Josh Sweat's up for a contract. Like it's tough, but when you have a guy like Clint Hurt back there, it's also, again, one of those situations where it's like, yeah, I want to bring all of them back. But if Thomas Booker has to take a bigger role, we've kind of been saying, hey, why don't we see Thomas Booker for 20 snaps? Because when he's in there for 8, you're seeing him make a difference on 7 of them. So like I trust that Clint's going to be able to get whoever they have in there playing at a high level. This by no means that I want Milton Williams to go, let him walk, Moro Ajomu, any of these guys. Like I'd love for them to bring all of them back. I think all 3 are having very good years. I think Josh Sweat bet on himself and has really been having a pretty good year. Not amazing, but above average. He's a damn good edge rusher. I think he's on the open market. I could see him getting over 11 per year.
You bring up an interesting question by naming a couple of those guys. I saw a question on Twitter that I had to think about for a long time, but I'm going to ask you to answer it not quickly, but like, give me your best guess here. So you can only re-sign 2 of these 3 people that are free agents: Mekhi Becton, Milton Williams, Zach Bond. You can only offer 2 of them a contract and 1 has to walk. Becton, Milton Williams, Zach Bond.
Zach Bond's easy right off the bat.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd offer him both contracts if I could. That's tough. The second one's is real tough. I mean,
do you trust Tyler Steen if you?
Yeah, I mean, like I guess it's like which position coach do you trust more, and you can't ever not trust stinking Stoutland. Jeff Stoutland. You can't not trust him. So maybe you lean Milton Williams.
Yeah.
And hope that in Steen's 3rd year he can really figure it out, or you actually, do take that day 1, day 2 guard that can transition to tackle whenever Lane leaves. And enough of this, we got to take a tackle round 1. Lane's going to leave any day now. And Lane's like,
last 3 years
said I'm playing until 26, 27.
Last 3 years they've been saying that, man. I swear to God.
So I pulled up the defensive player of the year odds here on DraftKings. Jalen Carter is higher in odds than Zach Bond. I think Jalen Carter's having a phenomenal year, but they have him higher on here. I don't know I guess it's just alphabetically. They have the same odds. They're both plus 7,500, which means they're not getting it because neither of them are playing.
And that's a damn shame. Like it just, I don't know who votes for defensive player of the year. I don't know how. Is it the Associated Press, kind of like the all pros? I don't know how that works, but I mean,
is Patrick Surtain quietly having like an incredible season? I know he's obviously one of, if not the best cornerbacks in football, but is he quietly having like some insane season?
Who's
because
this?
He's the betting favorite.
Who?
Patrick Surtain. He has 4 picks. Like, again, the corners do way more than intercept balls. Like, Q's obviously front runner for defensive rookie of the year, and he doesn't have a pick. So I'm not saying like picks are the end all be all. And again, I'll be honest, I don't watch a lot of Broncos games, but it's like I haven't heard or seen any kind of huge highlight reels, any kind of craziness that I'm like, oh wow, Patrick Surtain, he's having a great year, but he's the clear betting favorite for defensive player of the year.
It's just, I saw a stat too that said Zach Bond is the first linebacker in history to have 150 plus tackles, 5 plus forced fumbles, 2 plus fumble recoveries, and like 1 sack and 1 intercept. It was like this weird stat total, and I was like, the first linebacker ever. Yeah. And he's leading the number 1 defense in the NFL. That should account for something, because Fred Warner, as good as he is, Aaron Donald, as good as he is, as long as their defenses are in the top 5, they're automatically getting defensive player of the year. TJ Watt, same thing, praise and stuff like that. So why doesn't Zach Bond get it when he's doing more or just as much as those guys have with the number 1?
He's like breaking records almost. He's got insane amount of tackles. He's doing everything you can ever ask of him. He's a guy that my only guess is his agent is refusing to even listen to any offers right now, which, like, as an agent, it's a smart thing to do.
Yeah.
Like,
because Howie, after like week 3, was like, all right,
hey, fine. You know what? All right, we'll quadruple the salary. Yeah. How does that sound? 4 times your salary, and let's do $6 million next year. How's that sound? $6 million? $6 million, 3 years? What are we thinking? And he's like, yeah, kick rocks, bud.
Yeah, add a couple more zeros to that.
Yeah, how he was sitting there every day, just like, hey, it's me again. But he's a guy that you have to lock up. Surprisingly, Quinyon, not favorite to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Jared Verse is the heavy favorite.
I will say Jared Verse,
very good.
Having a very, very good year. Been a very good player. Quinyon finally gave up a touchdown, so I guess that automatically rules him out, right?
Yeah, like, he's plus 800 heading into last week that he's not going to be playing. So obviously he's not going to win it if he's plus 800 and isn't playing. But just seems a bit odd. I mean, Jared,
right. If he would have got his hands on some of those interceptable passes, I think he probably had a better chance. But
again, we're looking at the big picture. These awards don't mean shit. It'd be cool. It'd be really cool. Absolutely. I don't care.
Should we play Quinyon in there so he can go up against backups and the Giants and get an interception?
That's a great question. You want Saquon to break the record? Well, Quinyon's second in betting odds to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. Should we play him? Week 18?
Zach Bond, just blitz him so he can get a couple sacks.
Yeah, get Zach Bond out there, just play him every single snap. I mean, linebackers usually don't come out, but just blitz him every single snap. Why not? Awards mean more than anything else.
It's ridiculous, man.
So I want to ask you this. It's I believe, if I did the math correctly, we are guaranteed to either play the Commanders or the Packers. Am I correct in that?
Yeah. So the way it works is it's all on Dallas, believe it or not. If Dallas wins on Sunday, we play the Commanders. If Dallas loses, we play the Packers.
Okay. Who do you
Commanders
want?
and the Cowboys play each other.
Yeah.
So obviously you think the Washington's going to win that game. And if they do, it doesn't matter if the Packers win or lose at that point. But part of me is thinking, is Washington okay with saying, hey, Jalen Daniels is banged up. Hey, we got guys that are banged up. We are already guaranteed to be in the playoffs. Maybe we kind of, take this one easy, only play the starters at half. Dallas could win. If that's the case, you play Washington. If not, you play the Packers. But I
think they play because they don't want to see the Eagles.
I agree with you.
Yeah. They would rather risk injury than see the Eagles. Look, you want to talk about the coach of, if you had told me, I'd put it in our group text. If you had told me that Jalen Hurts misses 95% of the game, that the officiating tosses CJ for having a potty mouth, that they're already just awful officiating left and right, missing A.J. Brown getting a headshot in the end zone and getting DPI that would have given us 7, missing just all kinds of crazy calls that award them first downs, points, everything. And we lose on the road by 3 with Kenny Pickett leading this team. And they acted like it was a Super Bowl. I love when they had the side-by-side. Eagles clinched the NFC East locker room reaction to Commanders beat Kenny Pickett and the Eagles. And the Eagles are like, Hey, that's awesome. That's good. Let's go. Let's go. All right, next game. Commanders are losing their mind. You thought Garrett Stubbs was every single one of those motherfuckers in the locker room, just losing it. So I was like, look, congratulations. You guys won your Super Bowl. I'm very happy for you. And now,
like you've been there before type shit, right?
Yeah. So you got to imagine they're like, well, shit. They not only are going to have Jalen back, they're going to have Goddard, they're going to have AJ, Smitty, Saquon, everybody on rest, and their defense is going to be healthy. CJ isn't going to get tossed for having a potty mouth. You're going to have everybody going out there buzzing.
Jake, we had 5 15-yard penalties in that game. Not 1, not 2.
That's normal.
5.
Well, the Eagles always get the benefit of officiating. Just look at it throughout the season. So it's like, it's bound to catch you up to them sometime, right? If you look on Twitter, everybody says, oh, the Eagles, their 12th man on the field is the official.
And also, I have yet to scour the internet and find one clip of CJ saying something, doing anything, whatever the case is. The broadcast didn't even... I've never seen it before in my life, Jake, where someone gets ejected from a professional football game and the broadcast isn't going, let's go back and look. You
literally said, we tried to look. We could not find what got him ejected.
Nothing. And I didn't get a chance to talk about this on the podcast, but the thing in that game that blew my mind, Jake, let's just say you are throwing a flag on CJ for saying something, right?
Yep, I have the same exact thought.
I'll say I can't argue with you, but the second a player punches another player in the helmet in front of the referee, at minimum, and I use that word again, minimum, that is an offsetting penalty.
Yep.
One on you and one on you. It's not, well, he was being mean, so we're going to disregard the punch that I saw right in front of my face that caused the guy's helmet to go flying off. That becomes cheating because the referee is in his feelings as opposed to going by the rule book. And it's not like, oh, he didn't see it. Guys, we're just all blah, blah, blah. He was standing right there.
Yeah.
Said, no,
you deserved that.
Jake, never in my life.
Bro,
have I seen
I was watching, I was at a bar with our boy Chase U watching the game, and we watched that, and I verbatim, I was like, look, if he said something that heinous and that it deserves a flag, whatever. Okay. I didn't hear it, but if you're saying it was that bad, like, all right, you have that within your right to flag somebody. But as soon as he throws that punch, it's offsetting.
Yeah.
You have to throw a flag for unnecessary roughness, for personal foul, whatever you want. It has to be offsetting. And you can still just have it be like, all right, this is the first penalty towards an ejection. You can still have all that, but you cannot give them the 15 yards.
And I always thought that throwing a punch, like you were tossed, like that was the thing too. So not only you're not ejected, it's not even a penalty, not even offsetting. This referee is just so like with hate towards CJ in this regard. So yeah, that's every bad thing that can still only win by 3 points with 2 seconds left. Like no,
good. Exactly. No, CJ has really kind of turned the tides in my mind with me. I mean, he was a liability through 7 weeks of the season, 8 weeks of the season. He was just like, man, this is not the guy we had 2 years ago. And then he was just like, all right, hold my beer.
I'm back.
Yeah.
I'm back.
He's been playing at an unreal level.
Yeah.
But no, I'm excited. Real quick, who do you want to see? Packers, Commanders? You can take either.
I want to see Commanders just because I'm tired of all this Jaden Daniels hype, this Washington thinking they're good hype. I want to kick them out of the playoffs and make them feel what that tastes like. But honestly, I don't care. Give me whoever, and I'm going to feel just as confident.
I'm kind of in the same mindset as you right there. Well, look, Coach, super glad to have you back on the airwaves. Everybody's missed you. A lot of people. Hey, where's that coach guy?
People keep asking if I'm back.
Yeah, I'm thinking you're back. I'm thinking you're back. No, so it's things that Sean couldn't hop on. I know he was kind of on the play Saquon train pretty heavily. Was saying
I was ready to get on his ass. I was ready for it. I was hoping Shawnee was going to be here.
He's got dad duty tonight, so he isn't able to. He said he's going to make a clip reacting to the episode. So so get ready to shoot one back in retaliation
100%
to the kid. But no, super happy to have you back. Super glad to be back on the airwaves. As I know we haven't posted one in a couple of weeks. Been taking a little bit more of a short format really diving into the Instagram reels and YouTube shorts and everything, which is a lot of fun, but glad to be back doing the pride and joy, the podcast part of the podcast.
Jake, before we log off, can I ask you one question since I haven't been on in a long time?
Go right ahead.
1 to 10. How confident are you in your boy with the same first name, Mr. Elliott? Going into the playoffs, where's your confidence level in your boy?
I think you said the word right there, playoffs. Since he's been an Eagle, he's been one of the most clutch postseason players in the NFL, not kickers, players in the NFL. So you said it right there. If you just said, what are your thoughts? 1 to 10, give him a grade for the regular season, be a completely different number. But because of you saying postseason there, it's a 10. The guy, every other year, he's Aaron Nola. Every other year, he sucks. Every other year, he's great. Look at the stats. Literally, every other year, he goes from middling kicker to best kicker in the NFL. And this is the off year, but every year in the postseason, guy does not miss. Was I a little scared when he had the one that was right down the middle, but was about 2 feet short, and he's usually like 60 plus yards? Yeah, but watch that game, every kick. That was the one we were like, why do we keep kicking the ball and letting them return it? No kicker could get it into the end zone. Nobody could. So there was something going on there where the ball was not flying that day.
Maybe in his defense a little bit, I will say around the league, it looked like there was something in the water for kickers for like 2-3 weeks there. Every kicker was just forgot how to kick. It looked like in every single game, even Brandon Aubrey, Justin Tucker, you name it. Like they could not kick field goals anymore.
I hate the Cowboys, but Brandon Aubrey is probably the best kicker in the NFL.
I would stake my claim on that. Yeah.
And I hate the
NFL. But he can hit from like 65 effortlessly.
Yeah, the one that he clanged from 60 something would have been good from 70 plus.
Yeah, and they don't mind trying. All Dallas has to do is get the midfield.
Yeah, and I love kickers, so I was like, damn it, they've got the best damn kicker in the
They've got a real good one. Well, let's hope that Jake Elliott returns to that masterclass that we know he can.
Postseason Jake, man, he's just going to go out there and do his thing. Coach, final thought.
Just like Eminem said in 8 Mile when they asked if he was okay with Lickety Split being the first opponent. Yeah, we don't give a damn who it is. Eagles by 100.
Damn, go Birds!